Hey, Kevin Alvey with Figgy Pop Farms and Alvey Gardens. As you can see behind me, this is the Figgy Pop Nursery. After I've just taken down the sunscreen or the sun mat that was up last week when it stopped being in the 90s or upper 80s, and now it's in the low 80s at best, and in the 70s and down to upper 40s at night. So they're getting ready to start shutting down and going dormant. They're not doing a whole lot right now. So the last video I did was an overview of the SIPs or self-irrigating pots that we have in the nursery. And so today I'm going to do an overview of all of the in-ground trees. Let's hope that you like it. So feel free to follow or send to friends or subscribe or whatever you want to the channel, and I'll keep posting fig related videos and other things that are just happening around the farm, like the orchard for next year and all of the different things that we're doing to kind of create a sustainable kind of permaculture setup. And that's really the goal. All this stuff's going to be in ground, and then what's not will be in really nice big pots. So here we go. Overview of the fig trees, the 21 fig trees that are planted in ground. Enjoy. All right, so now I'm going to start with one of 3 rows. Each row has 7 trees. They're planted really close. So they're about 5 feet apart. In rows that are 10 feet, spaced 10 feet. So 3 10-foot spaced rows, trees 5 feet apart. It was okay. I was ready I got to keep them close for just kind of bush form is all I get to deal with. I never get the trees in this zone. They just don't do well with freezes. They freeze back to the ground pretty much every time. I'm gonna try to keep that from happening, but that's just the way it is. I'll keep working though. So let's start by row 1, 2, and then 3. So the first one in row 1 is a Brooklyn White. Brooklyn White is about, let's say, he's about 4 feet tall. I did tip pinch to try to get the fruit to ripen. It is loaded with figs, top to bottom. It of course they all do bush form, and I don't fight them here. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches, which is just fine. 5 to 7 is what I try to maintain them at, and I will prune them out and then, kind of harvest those cuttings. So there's Brooklyn White, and it's doing fantastic. And it does have it's not even a year old, and it's got lignified, 3 foot of lignified wood. And we'll see what we'll end up doing with that. That one's pretty green though. All right, next tree in this row is Unknown Italian White, and that's from Robin. And they did fantastic. It is over 4 feet tall, tip pinch to try to get the fruit to ripen. These should do just fine in ground. They're used to, they're cold hardy. They're used to being in cold in Brooklyn, so we'll deal with that. A little bit of FMV still on it. I really need to punch up the fertilizer on it next season to try to get it to break through that. Okay, so third tree in this row. See if I can get to the tag. So I like showing the tag. All right, White Versailles. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nice, solid, very thick branches. You can see the base gotten pretty thick, nice and lignified. Except for the first 3 feet are lignified, about a foot that's not. And so, but pretty healthy. And again, it's over 5 feet tall. And I didn't pinch it back because it doesn't have any fruit on it. I'm not trying to get it to do anything in that respect. All right, the next one is the Peter's honey that's in the ground. So let's find that. All right, Peter's honey. And again, the Peter's honey, all the Peter's honey were like this. I mean, look at that. They're just loaded. I have gotten to eat 2 off this, and the first one was really good, and the second one just wasn't ripe yet. I'm still learning about the fruit on these, what they're, you know, how they ripen. You know, it had sugar spots on it, and it was soft, and I really thought it was ready to go, and I picked it, and it was nasty. It didn't have any sweetness at all, and you just tell it just wasn't ripe. So, but we'll get there. I'm still learning. All right, next tree. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is tree number 5. Tree number 5 is a hardy Hartford. The reason I bought the hardy Hartford, it was supposed to be a nice cold hardy variety that I could put in the ground, and it's supposed to be very prolific. I'm pretty sure it's a Mount Etna type. So, you know, it's a really fitting tree for this area. Lots of fruit. They are small. Again, it's got 5 or 6 branches on it. I should have tipped this back, but it didn't look like I did. Still beautiful. I just love the form. I just love fig trees. I just love how every one of them is different. You know, almost every variety. It's wild how all the variations in the trees are in the different varieties. Okay, tree number 6 is Campaneri, and I bought this one from Jimmy. Just couldn't resist it. I'd heard too many things about Campaneri being, you know, really good for area and early and prolific, and so again, another good tree for me to put in. It's got a solid 3 feet. That's got lignified wood, so you know that stuff should survive winter with protection. Obviously, the green may have some dieback. Again, it appears to have some FMV, or there's another pest that like causes spots on it that it's microscopic. I need to put wettable sulfur on if I think that might be the problem, but I don't know which. I'm still learning, so I have to figure that out. Still beautiful. All right, last tree in this row is, I can't even see the tag, but it is Tres Num Prato. I got this one from Fig Cuttings early on. Oh wow, that branch is smashing that. Okay, let me move that. There we go, Tres Num Prato. I think I'll move that. All right, and it is loaded with branches, and it is loaded with fruit. And I've not gotten any fruit off of it yet, but I'm kind of surprised because it really has fruit all over it. I'm trying. I've even done a little oil on a couple on the eye just to see if that would help, but it didn't even do anything. So let's move over to row 2. All right, first tree in row 2 is again a tree that should be very cold hardy for this area, and that is a Brunswick. It's neat to see how different some of these trees function and grow, and some just absolutely take off. Some take longer than others. The stems on this just haven't really gotten very thick, but it has a lot of branches. Now I should have pruned it back, but really didn't feel the need since it really didn't have any fruit, and then all of a sudden it pops on a little bit. You know, there's only a couple on this, but I'm not trying to get fruit off of it. I'm just trying to get it healthy and get it to take off. So that's what I'm gonna let it do. All right, tree number 2. Let me find that tag. Is LSU Tiger. And this one was gifted to me by Dan Louie. And oh my God, this is probably got to be one of 2 of the most prolific trees that I got from anybody, purchased or gifts. and this thing just did not want to stop. I ended up pinching it to try, just so that it would pump some of that energy into those figs. But it got a solid 8 feet tall and was pressing on the shade cloth that was on this that I took off last week, since the weather got down to below 80 every day. So I took off the shade cloth so that these things would get more sun even with the cold, you know, because it's colder. But look how green that is, and look how massive these leaves are. So this is the one that just really blew my mind. And it's loaded. It's got, you know, the branches got super thick. Let's look at this base. Got super thick, lots of fruit all over it. And I really expect that I will get a couple off of this, as long as, you know, if we've got, it can avoid frost for a couple weeks, then I think I'll get something. All right, the next one. This is tree number 3 in row 2, and this is a black mission, and it has just sprawled. It's really filled the space, and it is massive. I mean, it is over 6 feet tall, and it has 6 branches, 6 limbs on it. I'm trying to get down in here just so we can kind of see the base. And I mean, it's really gotten thick. Not a single fruit on it, but I really was hoping that it would get a couple. But, you know, I wasn't really expecting anything from any of these trees first year. So I've been pretty surprised to see a lot of potential fruit. All right, here's the next one. This is tree number 4. This is Unknown Sicilian Dark. This one came from Off Beaten Path. And I picked up several from him that were supposed to be very cold hardy and very prolific, produce a lot of fruit. And first year, it got about 5 feet tall, and it is loaded with fruit. So it is loaded with figs. Not really getting to see any, but it's still loaded. So I haven't eaten any off of it yet, but maybe I'll get lucky. I haven't tipped. I did tip that over here, so we'll see if we get lucky and it puts out some for me, or ripens some for me. All right, the next tree, Taramo. Again, this is another one I got from Off Beaten Path, and again, I approached him and asked, you know, trees that are hardy, prolific, and these are the recommendations I was given, so I'm very happy. And as you can see, it is loaded all the way up. Every branch. It got 3 main branches on it, and all 3 main branches have fruits on every node, figs on every node. And again, I might not get to eat any, but at least I know it's going to produce. You know, the question has been answered. Will it put out fruit? And the answer is yes. Delightfully. Okay, here is the yellow long neck that is in ground. It has a lot of branches on it, more than it needs. So I will, of course, prune that back. But it does have one really nice thick branch. And again, with the ones in ground, I don't try to get rid of the branching. I don't mind bush form. I just want bush form that gives me a lot of fruit. So I will prune down so that it's restricted a bit. So it's not wasting energy. Okay, last tree in row 2 is White Adriatic. And this one's from Steven. And this thing kept trying to put on fruit, and I kept plucking it off because the tree just wasn't growing. And when I started plucking them off and didn't let them form, it took off. So it is 5 feet tall, nice big, you know, has some nice big leaves on it. Very pretty tree. And I guarantee we'll get some fruit next year. There's some tiny ones. You know, we're not gonna do anything with those, but you know, they're here. Okay, so let me get back to the front of row 3 and we will start the last row. All right, last row. This is a Sucrete from Bod. This is from Fig Cuttings. And it didn't put any fruit on, but it grew well and it is over 6 feet tall and almost all lignified. So, you know, I will still have to prune back some in order to get it protected. So I will take those cuttings, I will root those cuttings. Before I try to sell any cuttings to anybody, I'm gonna root everything, a couple of everything I have, to make sure that they're rooting and not rooting because they're only 1 year cuttings. I really wanna sell things and not know for sure that they'll root for people. All right, there's the LDA that's in ground. And it, again, formed a very, very nice, thick, that's 1.5 inches. Easy stalk. Love seeing them get that big. And it is over 6 feet tall and absolutely loaded with fruit. I don't have any ripe ones yet, but they're huge. They're definitely the biggest fruit out here. They've been on here the whole time. That as soon as I put them in the ground, started to grow, and they started putting on fruit. So it was really nice to see, all up and down. All right, number 3 in the row is Strawberry Vert. And this one hasn't grown real fast. It has been in the ground since fall of last year. It took off in the spring and just didn't put on anything. It's just been putting energy into growth. 2 nice branches, all pretty much all lignified except for the top 18 inches on one branch and top couple inches on the other. So I'm sure I will root, you know, at least 4 or 5 cuttings of that. I can't wait to try that. That's just one I've really been biting the bullet to try to get, or to try to eat, try to get to taste. All right, this is a magnolia. Now, I didn't know early on, but supposedly the magnolia and the Brunswick are in essence the same variety. But it has a similar form, really bushy. But I did notice, we see, there's some brown spots, but you kind of expect that when they're getting ready to close up for the season. You know, they're gonna put themselves up. But look at this form. This is magnolia. But if you go over and you look at the Brunswick, it's more of a Violet de Bordeaux shape, or a Ronde de Bordeaux. It's a lot sharper and has a lot sharper edges. It's not the same form. Now, it's the same bush form, it's same thin branching and everything, but the leaf pattern is not exactly the same. I was kind of surprised about that. Okay, let's go to number 5. And number 5 is Panama Purple. And oh wow, looky there. Oh, wonderful. Oh, okay. Well, look what we got here. We got a Panama Purple. I didn't see that on there. It was hidden in just the right spot. But yeah, we got. I'm gonna eat that here in a second. Very nice thick branch, about 1.5 inches. This was in the ground in late fall. I put it in the ground in August of last year. It took off. It's over 6 feet tall, loaded with fruit. I have eaten fruit off of this and have been very happy with it. It's got a mild berry flavor, just sugar fig, but with some berry. But it's, you know, I just love every one of these trees. They're just so beautiful. And then to get to eat fruit off of them, you know, it just adds to the fun and playtime. All right, here's number 6, Joliet. Now Joliet is done. It's got fruit all over it. First season, none ripe yet. But some of them look like they just might get there before season's end. It's funny, it's still got wax in it. But look at that. I mean, it's almost 2 inches across on that base. And it's, at this point, still hasn't even been in the ground a year. Yeah, I do drip irrigation, and it's been working fantastic. So yeah, that's a nice one. So the last one in row 3, number 21 in row 3 Owensboro Unknown. And I got that from, again, Off the Beaten Path. And I am only 45 minutes away from Owensboro, so I kind of had to get it. And it is from Owensboro, Kentucky. I asked about the variety and he gave me some information about it. It hasn't been, you know, I mean, not every tree is gonna be explosive growth, but it's done pretty good. It's over 4 feet tall. There's some little bitty figs on it, so I know it's gonna produce. It put out some branches, and pretty happy little tree. I can't wait to see what the fruit's like on it. Okay, so since we've got this Panama purple, I gotta try it. That's just all there is to it. So let's see how we can do this. How's that look? Let's see. That's wonderful. Could have been a little more ripe, but that's okay. I enjoyed it. So that's I think what I'll do here next is call it, and I will post this little video, and then I will do an overview of some of the other potted trees next time around. All right, so that's the overview. Sorry, I gotta eat that one, eat the rest of that. Mild berry, nice and sweet. Of course, it'd be even better if it was a little more ripe, but it's fantastic. So thank you. It's a blessing. We're all blessed, aren't we? So that's it for now on the trees planted in the nursery. And again, like I said, I've got close to 100 trees that are gonna go in an orchard next year. This is just the nursery and the trees in the nursery. But I'm gonna do another video on the trees that are in pots. I've got some in 10, some in 3, and some in 5. So I'm gonna probably break them up into, you know, pot size videos. Then I've got some other trees that are now into 1-gallon pots because I've continued rooting all summer. Just because I could. And then when anything popped up, ProFig had some trees, had some break off from damage from storms, and he posted those and sold those. So I bought some of the different varieties they offered. It's just too much fun. I mean, it's you know, I'm fairly new to this, but I'm sucked in, and I'll continue. And you know, I've already ordered more cuttings for this fall. So I've already pulled some from my own trees. So I'm pretty sure I'll have over 100 cuttings rooting this fall. And then I'll do rootings. I'll root more cuttings in the summer because that was the easiest. And then I'll have lots of air layers. Oh, it's so much fun. All right, Kevin from Figgy Pop Farms. Get your fig on. Bye.